There's a rule that determines who gets rich and who stays broke. It's not taught in schools, it's not written in books, and most people never figure it out. You've been lied to about wealth. Not intentionally, but the advice you've received your entire life: work hard, save diligently, invest wisely, is missing something fundamental. It's not that those things don't matter. They do, but they're not the rule. They're moves within a game you don't fully understand. Today, we're going to expose the quiet rule that actually determines financial outcomes, not the one people talk about, the one they live by. Let's start with a story. Two people, same age, same education, same city. Person A wakes up at 6 a.m., works a demanding job, budgets carefully, and saves 10% of their income. They do this for 30 years. Person B wakes up at 8 a.m., works part-time on projects they choose, and hasn't saved traditionally in a decade. After 30 years, they're worth 20 times more than Person A. What happened? The common narrative says Person B got lucky. Maybe they inherited money. Maybe they knew the right people. But there's a pattern here that has nothing to do with luck. Person A played by the rules of labor. Person B played by the rules of capital. And here's the quiet rule nobody tells you. Labor loses. Capital compounds, not because labor isn't valuable, but because the system is structurally designed to reward ownership over effort. When you work for money, you trade time for dollars. There's a ceiling. Your time is finite. When money works for you, there's no ceiling. Money doesn't get tired. It doesn't need sleep. It scales. This isn't a moral judgment. It's a mechanical reality. Most people spend their entire lives optimizing the wrong variable. They focus on increasing income, getting promotions, switching jobs for a 15% raise. And income does matter, but only as a starting point. Because here's what happens. You get a raise. You feel good for 3 months. Then your lifestyle expands to match it. New car payment, bigger apartment, more dinners out. Suddenly you're making more but saving the same percentage or less. This is called the hedonic treadmill, and it's why high earners often have shockingly little wealth. A doctor making $400,000 a year can be broker than a plumber making $80,000. How? Because the doctor spent 6 figures on education, lives in an expensive neighborhood, and has lifestyle obligations that consume everything. The plumber owns a duplex, rents out half, drives a paid-off truck, and has been stacking capital for 15 years. Income is not wealth. Income is potential. Wealth is what you keep and deploy. So what do wealthy people actually do differently? They make one fundamental shift. They stop seeing money as something you earn and start seeing it as something you deploy. Let me explain. When you work for money, your goal is to get paid. When money works for you, your goal is to make it reproduce. The wealthy ask a different question every time they get a dollar. Where can I place this so it generates more? Not what can I buy? Not how do I keep it safe, but how do I make this multiply? This is the shift from consumer to capital allocator. They buy assets that produce income, real estate that rents, businesses that operate without them, stocks that pay dividends. They don't work harder, they build systems that work instead. And here's the compounding part. The income from those assets gets reinvested. That reinvestment generates more income. That income gets reinvested again. Year 1 you make $50,000 and invest $10,000. Year 5, your investments generate $8,000 a year. You invest that to year 10. Your investments generate $30,000 a year. You're not working harder. The system is. People talk about passive income as if it's magic. It's not. It's just compounding capital. And the brutal truth, the longer you wait to start, the harder it gets. Because time is the most powerful variable, and you can't buy it back. Here's where most people get stuck. Comfort. You get a stable job, benefits, a predictable paycheck. It feels safe. And in the short term, it is. But here's the paradox. Long-term safety requires short-term discomfort. Every year you stay comfortable, you're deferring risk, you're deferring learning, you're deferring capital building. And that deferred risk doesn't disappear. It compounds. At 25, starting a business is scary but recoverable. At 45, with a mortgage and kids in school, it's terrifying. The wealthy understand this inverted risk curve. They take risks early when the downside is small. They live below their means when it's easiest, so they can build the capital base that makes everything else possible. Most people do the opposite. They play it safe early. Then, when they finally realize they need to take risks, they have too much to lose. Comfort is a tax you pay with your future. Here's the thing most people miss. Wealth isn't built in the big moments. It's built in the invisible decisions. Do you buy the $50,000 car or the $15,000 car and invest the difference? Do you rent the luxury apartment or live in the modest one and buy a rental property? Do you eat out 4 times a week or cook at home and deploy that $400 a month? These feel like lifestyle questions. They're not. They're capital allocation questions. Every dollar you spend is a dollar you're choosing not to deploy. And because of compounding, that's not just the dollar, it's every dollar that dollar would have created. Spend $1,000 today, and it's gone. Invest $1,000 today at 8% annual returns, and in 30 years it's over $10,000. That's not a difference of 1,000, it's a difference of over 9,000. Multiply that by every small decision, every week, for decades, and you see why some people build fortunes while others stay stuck. It's not luck, it's structure. So here it is, the quiet rule. Wealth is not a function of how much you make, it's a function of how much you keep and how you deploy it. The system is designed to move money from people who spend it to people who deploy it. You can earn $200,000 a year and stay broke. You can earn $50,000 a year and become a millionaire. The difference is this. Do you see money as something to consume or something to deploy? Do you optimize for lifestyle or for leverage? Do you chase comfort or compound capital? These aren't moral questions, they're mechanical ones, and the answer determines everything. Most people never learn this rule. They work hard, save what they can, and hope it works out. But hope isn't a strategy. The wealthy don't hope. They build systems. They deploy capital. They let compounding do the work. You can do the same. The question is, will you? If this changed how you think about money, subscribe to MindCentz. We don't do hustle culture. We don't do get rich quick. We do clear thinking about systems, psychology, and wealth. See you in the next one.